The Newsday continues here in One News Now Business. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the biggest stories on the economic and corporate fronts. The World Bank says the Philippines is on track to becoming an upper middle income country in the next few years. According to the multilateral lender, an upper middle income country has a per capita income range of $4,256 to $3,205. The Philippines is currently classified as a lower middle income country with a gross national income per capita at $3,640 in 2021. But with continued recovery and reform efforts, the World Bank said the Philippines could become an upper middle income country in the short term. President Bongbong Marcos earlier said that his administration is targeting to reach upper middle income status for the country by 2025. The country's trade deficit widened in March as exports and imports continued to fall. Preliminary data from the Philippine Statistics Authority shows that the trade in goods balance amounted to $4.9 billion deficit in March. This is the widest trade gap since the $5.74 billion deficit in January. On a monthly basis, the country's trade balance has been in deficit for 94 months, or nearly 8 years since the $6.5 million posted in May 2015. The Development Budget Coordination Committee is projecting a 3% growth for exports this year. The Energy Department warns of more yellow alerts to be raised over the Luzon grid. This as the DOE warns that it is projecting peak demand to climb up to 13,125 megawatts in the last week of May. While the agency assures there is enough power supply, it will raise a yellow alert amid limited reserves. In total, the DOE says it expects to raise a yellow alert over the Luzon grid 15 more times for the rest of the year, 4 of which are initially expected for the month of May, while June and August will each see 3 yellow alert declarations. The DOE also expects to raise yellow alerts twice for each of the months of September and October, and once in November. The Energy Department says it also sees the possibility of another red alert being raised over the Luzon grid. A red alert over the Luzon grid would entail rotational blackouts as demand surpasses supply.
We need Alvin to pray and pray hard because precisely this, some of the, the heat, for example, was something that we did not expect, and it can and does affect operation of plants. That's one. We hope that there will be no other natural phenomena that is going to affect any of the plants or the lines.
The National Irrigation Administration says there is enough water supply for irrigation despite the allocation cut from the National Water Resources Board. The NIA said farmlands will have enough water supply for the cropping season, while reservoirs in Bulacan were able to replenish supply after it rained in the past couple of days. Water allocation for irrigation had been slashed to 10 cubic meters per second, down from 30 cubic meters per second until May 10. After that, the allocation for irrigation will be suspended until the next cropping cycle in mid-June.
Pero hindi na ho talaga kami humingi ng additional na tubig ditong Mayo kasi umulan naman po sa Bulacan. Enough po yun para masustain ang ating standing crop.
We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The two-day 42nd ASEAN Summit has officially started in Labuan Bajo, Indonesia. President Bongbong Marcos joined his ASEAN counterparts for the opening and plenary session. Other Philippine delegates include House Speaker Martin Romualdez and several cabinet secretaries. Marcos Jr. earlier said he will push for the finalization of a code of conduct in the South China Sea. He told reporters that a code of conduct is needed to ease tension in the disputed waters.
I'll bring it up again because when we talk about the issues in the West Philippine Sea, South China Sea, hindi magkakalma yan hanggang meron na tayong code of conduct.
The president also said he expects ASEAN leaders to make an aggressive push to revitalize the region's economy. This as he claimed that global economies are turning towards Asia, which is adjusting better than other regions.
You know, we've seen sa EU, we've seen sa ibang lugar that the global economies are also turning towards Asia. But tinitignan din ang Southeast Asia and ASEAN. And that's what the subject matter will be, is that how do we play the part that we want to play, which is going to be the global locomotive of the global economies.
The Asia United Bank, or AUB, says it has already put on hold the account that supposedly received funds from unauthorized GCash transactions. In a statement, AUB said they are now cooperating with GCash on its investigation into the matter. AUB adds that they are now looking into the said account. East West Bank, which also supposedly received funds from unauthorized GCash transactions, said it is also cooperating in the investigation. GCash has earlier confirmed that all funds of users affected by the reported unauthorized transactions have been returned. In a statement, the mobile wallet reiterated that its customers did not lose their funds on GCash. It added that the app is now up for service and that people can safely proceed with their regular transactions. Digital Pinoy said it had received nearly 200 complaints about unauthorized transactions. According to the group, these GCash users lost more than 6 million pesos in total amount. One tech expert believes that the mobile wallet may not be held liable as this was a case of individual hacking.
Nangyayari itong ganito pag yung mga user nagiging biktima ng phishing. So ibig sabihin nag-input sila ng account, nag-input sila ng credentials nila sa mga fake na websites at fake na mga app. So kaya nananakaw yung data natin. So pwedeng nabigay nila yung account nila sa mga kaibigan nila. So maraming possibility. So kasi kung GCash, halimbawa GCash mismo ang nahack, hindi lang ganito ang mawawala. Mas malaki pa yung mawawala sa mga sa GCash mismo.
Below the melting Arctic ice, there could be billions of dollars worth of oil and metals. Here's how Russia, Denmark, and Canada are racing for control, courtesy of Bloomberg Quick Take.
Who owns the Arctic? It depends where you draw the lines. Arctic countries, including Russia, Canada, and Greenland, represented by Denmark, are pushing for more expansive rights to a huge swath of the Arctic seabed.
The UN Convention on the Law of the Sea allows states to define the limits of their continental shelves. States have exclusive rights no matter what out to 200 nautical miles.
All three countries claim their continental shelves stretch to the same overlapping area, a patch of frozen sea about 215,000 square miles around the North Pole. It's part of the Lomonosov Ridge, a long underwater mountain range. No matter what happens, countries will still be able to travel freely in the international waters above. But winning the economic rights to the resources on the bottom is its own kind of power.
If their shelf is seen as going out that further amount, they can claim exclusive rights to the resources of the seabed.
In 2008, the U.S. Geological Survey estimated there are about 90 billion barrels of undiscovered oil and almost 1,700 trillion cubic feet of undiscovered natural gas inside the Arctic Circle. Most of what's known about the metal deposits in the region is confined to land studies. The seabed is largely unexplored, but geology suggests its resources could be rich. Meanwhile, the Arctic is warming 4 times as fast as the rest of the globe, and that pace is accelerating. Climate change may make it easier to access the region for exploration and extraction.
Sea ice makes us think the Arctic is important. It makes us think about ice. And so then the Arctic isn't just some weird place way up there, some place you maybe fly over, but actually it's a part of the global community.
Deep-sea mining, an area critical to the planet's climate defense, is clearly highly controversial. Russia has pledged to increase land and sea production of fossil fuels out to 2035 in its latest Arctic strategy, although its most ambitious plans are on hold due to sanctions. There's also an open question when, if ever, it will be economically feasible to mine the Arctic seabed. But the bragging rights are undeniable.
Sure, this is a time of global competition. And at a time of global competition, states want to do things that show we're a big player. North is very important for several Arctic states, and this is a way of showing we recognize the importance of the North and we're willing to stand by it. What we see going on in the map is in many ways still law being followed out in an orderly way, but specifically in the mandate of the Commission of the Limits of the Continental Shelf to assess the science of the claims, to look at the geology, and then it's up to the states to actually decide how to divide it up.
Untangling the scientific submissions of the 3 countries could take decades, but that glacial pace could be good for the planet if it staves off an exploitation feedback loop. For now, the North Pole belongs to everyone and no one.
And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.